Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Everything in Racing. We've got a new guest today, Eric from Nooge Performance, or Nooge Customs. Nooge Customs. I swear we practiced this ahead of time, but here we are. And once again, my co-host was not able to show up today.
I was wondering if...
Yeah, I told him you were coming. He said, don't know him, don't care. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what he said, but, I guess, you'd have to get into my phone to find out, so, man.
Yeah, you have that sometimes.
You have that with those guys.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the invite.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It was. I always wonder on your side of it, how weird is it to have someone just reach out to you randomly, like, "Hey, you want to come on a podcast?"
This was the first one for me.
Yeah.
But I know it's a thing. There's more of them nowadays, so it's kind of the norm. They're getting going. So.
Yeah. Well, like we start every podcast. Man, what got you into this world of horrible financial decisions?
Yeah, I started out a Ford guy. With my first job when I got out of high school, I started working at a Ford dealership, doing general repair and stuff. And I had a couple Mustangs that I'd bought, fixed up, and used those to kind of learn on. When I had my first Mustang, it was a 96 4.6 car. We had...
so that would have been the New Edge? Or
no, that was the SN95.
Just the SN95.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Started out, I bought the car. It had a blown up motor in it, so we went to the salvage yard and got a motor for it. Ran as NA, did some bolt-ons and stuff on it to begin with, and then eventually, what did I start out with? That thing went through all kinds of things. I think I started out with a supercharger kit.
Okay.
I found like a used Vortex supercharger kit for it. Did that, had it tuned, and raced that for a while, and was having issues with it and stuff. Like we were having trouble keeping belts on it and stuff. So
I understand that 100%.
yeah. So after that, we ended up doing. I think I did a nitrous kit on it. Like we had this. I think I started with like a bottle in the bag, this Copy Car Dry nitrous kit on it. So ran that for a while, and then got a like a fogger kit for it. It was this weird thing. It went under the fuel injectors.
Okay.
It had like soft lines and stuff that went to it, and we got that on there. I did a progressive and all that stuff, and did the install myself, and ran that a little bit, and did not like the nitrous stuff. So I think after that we went on to a turbo kit.
Did you end up blowing up the motor at all with the nitrous kit?
No, actually, we have never. The motor that was in it went through all these different power adders, and we were probably only making 300 and 360, 400 horsepower and stuff, but never heard anything. Just went through a bunch of changes. I guess I was kind of using that as like a learning thing. I wanted to kind of get into all the different power adders and learn about them.
Well, if the motor was a little bit older too, all the ring gaps would have been a little bit wider, so you can abuse it a little bit and it won't blow up.
Yeah. So yeah, we did the turbo on it, and I ran that for a while with the stick shift. I think it ran I think my best times I went like a 710 in the 8th mile with it, with a 5-speed. And finally decided a deal came up on a Turbo 400 for it.
Okay.
So at this time, I was probably 16, 17 years old. I didn't know how to weld or anything. So I got this Turbo 400 and got the car up. I think it was around winter time is when I decided to try to swap and get it in there, and didn't know how to weld or anything. So I had this thing up on jack stands outside. I didn't have a garage or stuff when at the time. So I remember being out in our driveway in the snow, and there was just I shoveled the snow out of the way to be able to get to work on the car. And man, I went to the hardware store. I got metal brackets and a bunch of bolts, and I knew we had to move the cross member back. So I used like one of the holes on there, and man, I probably had 30 or 40 bolts under this thing, bolting like the plates in to like remount the cross member and stuff, but it just got it in there and it worked.
That's all that matters, as long as it works.
Yeah. So I ran it for a couple. What did we do? We got in there. I don't think I ever got on the dyno or anything. Ended up wrecking the car. The throttle got hung on it, and ended up bailing out. I was just going to get on it and just light the tires up and do a quick little pull, and throttle got hung. I was coming up on traffic, so I just had to cut out and ended up going to a light pole with it. But like I said, at the time, in my defense, I think I was 17 or so. So
well, and it was a Mustang. That's where it's meant to end up.
yeah,
at some
yeah.
point.
I don't know if maybe there's a crowd
The
on the
crowd
side of the
behind the
road.
light
There's
pole,
probably
you
a
know.
crowd over there or something.
Yeah. Just the car was just like, it's my time. It's time to go.
But yeah. So
Yeah. All right.
got we ended up pulling everything out of that car. We'll carry on a little bit more.
Yeah,
We ended up pulling everything out of that car and putting it into a new Edge.
Okay.
And got it all together. And around that time, I started at I worked at the Ford dealership during this, and I'd probably been there for about a year, and just doing general repair and stuff there. And I started to get a little bored with that, and I'd been hanging out on the weekends and going helping out at a performance shop, a local performance shop, and I was there one night late working there, and somehow we got on the subject, and they asked if I'd be interested in coming over and work for them, and kind of starting out at the bottom there.
Mm-hmm.
So put in my notice at the dealership, and went there and started there, and that got me into my first performance job.
Okay. Have you always been in the Raleigh area, or have you been in different areas?
Durham.
Durham.
Yeah. Born
Okay.
and raised in Durham, and yeah, spent most of my time in Raleigh. I was always hanging out at shops and stuff. Most of the shops were in Raleigh. So.
Okay. All right. So move everything over to a new Edge. You know, turbo kit, everything.
Yeah.
Turbo 400. What was our next step? Like how do we get faster?
Okay, so well, I came there and had the car running and stuff, and the performance shop I worked at was a GM shop.
Okay.
LS shop. So
Okay.
of course I got some kickback there.
Mm-hmm.
I ran one race. We went to, it was a horsepower HBJ Dragon Rights. We ran with it, and I think the car went like 1120s is what it ran. And everybody was just like, you need to change this up. We need to step this car up.
Mm-hmm.
So that was when Ford Motor came out, and we dug out a stock bottom end.
5.3 or
Stock bottom end 5.34.
Yeah.
Yep.
How many? Do you know how many miles it had on it when you pulled it out of the?
I think they said it had over 100,000 miles.
Okay.
So
I have a theory that, like, especially guys that run like stock block nitrous and stuff like that, if they go to the junkyard to get their 5.3, because that's where all race engines start, is in the junkyard as far as 5.3s go.
Wow.
The higher the mileage, the more likely they are to pick it, because there's less work they have to do to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in the beginning people didn't really look at it that way because we did at the time. I think that became the trend. People started realizing, they're like, well, the ring gap's tight and stuff, so the looser motors are already done. You don't have to do that. But we had a bunch of spare parts laying around. Mm-hmm. We pulled the motor had been sitting in the corner covered in dust. We pulled that out. We had we looked on the shelf for a camshaft, and they had this cam there, and they thought it was a turbo cam. So we put that in there. The heads on it were the first set of heads we put on it were a set of 80. You probably don't know much about LS, but they're 806. They're perimeter bolt heads.
Okay.
It was the 98 Camaros, the first LS, the head they had on there.
Okay.
And nobody, they were junk. But we put those on there. They had been ported and stuff. And we put stock truck intake. And at the time I had some Master Power 70mm turbos. We did a twin turbo setup on it. We got all that together, got it going. What did we run? We went to the track. I think first time out. The Turbo 400 I had in it was burn up. We rushed to get it together, so I think we knew when we had it on the dyno that something might be up with it. But we got it off the dyno, went to the track, got that thing. We'd make a pass in high gear. It was just smoked. I was on the rev limiter all the way through the quarter mile, and at the time it was a big power step, so I didn't know what was going on. So I was just holding.
And you're just having a good time, so you're just keeping your foot to the floor.
Out. Yeah, on the rev limiter, and so it was fun. It made a lot more power. It was a big step, but of course we got to the shop and got a transmission for it. We went back out. I can't remember. This is forever ago, but I I want to say like we probably went like 560s or so, 560, 550s the next time out.
I mean, that's a respectable number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we ended up, I think, we knew we were turning it up, and we knew it should have been making more. And we find out that I bent all the valves in it I guess from our rev limiter shenanigans. So
yeah, they have a tendency to do that.
yeah. So what was the next thing? So stuck another set of heads on. It was probably just some 243s off the shelf that we had, and went out again. The car went 540s. So this was, what year was this? This was probably 2012, 2013. The stock bottom end stuff wasn't real big. I think they at the shop had actually had a car that been 570s or something like that. So we got out, we put the word out, we posted up. One of the guys at the shop was like, I think that's like the stock bottom end record. Let's post it up, and it was at the time. We had the stock bottom end record, and that post blew up. We had on like LS1 Tech and Yellow Bullet, and got a lot of attention to stuff.
I just joined Yellow Bullet actually not too long ago.
Really?
It's still going strong on Facebook.
It is, yeah. It's hanging in there.
Yeah. We had John Dock on here, which I lovingly refer to as the king of the micro record. There's like he'll be like stock bottom end with this specific intake on this day of the week. Record.
Yep.
And I'm like, like I understand the stock bottom end record. I get that 100%. But the moment you have anything that you add on to that,
add more details on
I'm
that.
like, I don't know if that counts as a record.
Yeah, the micro records. Yeah, but that thing took a beating. I think I ran that motor for 2 years.
Wow.
And like I learned, the first time out with burnt transmission on the rev limiter stuff, and learning to do burnouts and stuff. It took a beating. It had went at the time. We never got a time slip for it because my turbo was going out, and we had a scavenge pump on. It was either turbo or the scavenge pump. So we were running this race. It was a real street race, 275 real street. When I left, we went like a 540. We got the time slip over a 540, and we turned it up a little bit. We turned up the 60. We turned up a little more boost, and it took it. So we knew it went faster, but the smoke tripped the beam, fooled the beam. And I think what happens when there's smoke in the beam, you get out, but then when the smoke clears, then it realizes you're gone, so you got to run and start at the line. So we popped up. The time board popped up like 5.0 something, and I was racing. I think we were in eliminations or something, and at the time, this class record was like a 5:20. So people started freaking out. They thought like that just happened. A stock bottom end car had done it. So we ended up, of course, the numbers didn't add up. It was like a 0.9 60 foot or something at the time. So, the car had went a couple. We ended up running again, and it did the same thing again. So it went a couple 530 passes, and
something was wrong with the timing system. It was a little.
Well, it wasn't the timing system. It was the car was smoking.
Yeah.
But what is we ended up getting that fixed. And the thing that ended that car was we ended up bending all the rods in the car. I went to a race a few weekends later, and we ran. Where did we go? We went to Fayetteville. We ran a stock block shootout, and the car just kept running 560s, and I was like, didn't know what was wrong. It was running clean. We couldn't tell anything was wrong. We thought maybe the transmission was starting to go. We left there that night and went down to Darlington for another stock block race, and same thing, 560s, just kept running that. So we went out.
We went under a bracket race.
Yeah, it was dead on there. So we went out first round there, got back to the shop, tore it down. We pulled the transmission first. We pulled the pan. There wasn't a lot of material in it. We went over a few other things. Finally, we're like, we got to tear it down. Something's in the bottom end. And we tore the bottom end down, and every single rod in it was bent. So, but it was still running. That thing was still going. So they're pretty wild what you can do with them.
Yeah, it's amazing what some of these engines can do. If it's not a catastrophic failure, the amount of time that they can keep running.
Yeah, yeah. It was a heavy car too. Like we ran at race weight for the class. It was like 3,250, 3,300 pounds is
It's
what the
lighter
car
than
usually.
I've ever been.
Yeah, well, in the grand, when you look at the cars out there setting the records now, I've stopped keeping up with them, but I went through Facebook a while back and just seeing, and there's some people claiming 1,500 horsepower, mid fours and stuff. There's people that are claiming they're flying with those things, and they're just saying they're stock, but they're 2,500-pound cars, light cars, compared to where that was.
So, in that particular stock block record, like, what is the requirement for the engine to actually be stock block? So is it just a stock factory cast block?
Well, no, this was the stock bottom end stuff.
Stock bottom end.
The races I were running was stock block. Like that was just that was one of the main classes that I got into a lot of races with.
Yeah, I mean, I guess where I'm saying it is like there's some sticklers for rules somewhere where like they'll say like, oh, stock bottom end, but does that mean like factory crank, factory rods, factory pistons, or does that mean that as long as the engine or as long as the block is a factory cast block, you're fine?
Man, there's all kinds of interpretations to it. That's one of the biggest arguments online. Is I don't keep up with this. It's been years since I've really kept up with this stuff. That was a long time ago when we did it. But back then, there were people that were, I guess I always drew the line at if you disassembled the motor and went through, people would put rod bolts in it, gap the rings and stuff. That kind of defeated the whole concept of the stock bottom end stuff to me. When we did it, we pulled it off the shelf as is, didn't disassemble anything, and popped some heads. We put some head studs on it, popped some heads on it, stuck a cam in it, and sent it. But yeah, there's people that go through, rebuild the whole motor, put rod bolts in it, do the rings and stuff, and you just kind of it's a built stock bottom end or something.
It's always funny to me the people who even when you get into like the stock block class, right? They want to argue about stuff. They'll be like, "Oh, if you put sleeves in it, it's not a stock block anymore." But then there's some guys. It's like, "Well, as long as it's a factory cast block, no matter what you do beyond that point,
it is.
Yeah." But it's so like a car like Snot Rocket, right? It's a factory cast block. He could run all the stock block races that he wanted to.
Oh yeah, factory cast heads and stuff on those things too, right?
Yeah, GT350 factory cast heads. Yeah, they weren't even the GT350X heads. They were just the regular GT350.
I don't know.
And then
I don't know all the details there.
Yeah,
this Ford stuff.
Well, so they're the ones that came on that GT350 down below.
Okay, gotcha.
So the magic combination right now seems to be the block from the GT500, the Predator block.
Okay.
The GT350 heads, because they flow more. You port those. You have to get special cams to get the block and the heads to work. And then Gen 1 timing assembly.
Okay.
Stock Boss 302 crank goes back in it because if you can get a billet, but that's only if you want to make above 3,000 horsepower. Anything below that, stock crank.
All
just
good.
put that sucker in there. Yeah. And then diamond pistons and manly rods, I think is what most guys are running.
Yeah. No, they're
send it.
They're impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, you're building that car, you're running fast, you're working at this shop. At what point for you were you like, you know what? I think I could do this myself. I could run my own shop. What was that? And for the people watching, how do you pronounce it?
Nooge Customs.
Nooge Customs.
Yeah.
Okay.
That I went for years before I got to the point where I went out on my own there. So I worked for this performance shop. I worked there for a couple years. I left there. I got a job offer for somewhere. Through my time when I started working here, I got a lot of interest in fabrication and fab work. And we were just kind of getting into that. We were doing a little bit of it, but I got a job. I ran into somebody at the track, got linked up with somebody, tell them how I was at a race at Roxborough. I think it was a pro mod race, and told them where I worked and told them how I like doing fab work and stuff. And they said, you should reach out to this guy. I heard he's looking for somebody. I called him. Got in touch with him. And he offered me a job there, and he was a full chassis shop, did a lot of big race car stuff. So we talked and stuff, and ended up putting in a notice where I was working and said, I wanted, this is the stuff I wanted to get into and wanted to pursue. So, ended up moving. This shop was in another state. It was in Virginia.
Okay.
So, came up there and started working there. At this time, I was probably 20 years old at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I got out of high school. I worked for a year at the Ford dealership. Went to the performance shop. Worked there for probably almost 2 years. So yeah, 2021 or something. I worked there. When I started there, he got a feel for me, and ended up. At first I shadowed him for a while. Did some simple jobs, and he had a Mustang come in, a New Edge Mustang, and he said, "I'm gonna sit you all on this one and build a cage." It was a 25.3 chassis. Started going on that one, and did the whole. Probably took a couple months. I did the whole chassis on that, and it turned out pretty good. He was real happy with it. So worked there for a few more. I was comfortable. I was getting comfortable doing the stuff and was enjoying it. I worked there for a few more months after that, and the difficult. I was commuting. I was staying. He actually had an apartment that I was staying in there just to kind of get a feel and trial and get a feel for if I wanted to do it. But when it came time to work out all the logistics of making the move up there and stuff, it just didn't really work out. We couldn't make it work, so he understood. Like, we ended up saying I'm gonna have to probably go back and find something in Raleigh.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked there for a few more months with him knowing that what my intentions were and stuff, and told him I got a job to go back there, and moved back to Raleigh from there.
Mm-hmm.
And we just, like I said, everything was on good terms, and I kept up with him. I still did work for him, and we got a real good relationship. I still keep in touch with him all the time. I learned a lot while I was there. That I will say, working there shaped a lot to really shaped how I was. He was very OCD. He did a lot of attention to detail, and he did really good work. And that's kind of what just those few months of working there. I think it was probably 6-7 months. Really, it was worth it. I wouldn't have gone any other direction because I learned a lot, shaped how I was. So yeah, after that, moved back to Raleigh. I went back to the same performance shop that I was at, and worked there for about another 2 or 3 years. And I think throughout that is when I started to think about maybe doing stuff on my own. What really got me to take the leap was I was been dating my wife. We've been dating about a year or so, and she lived up in Virginia, and she had planned on moving down, but some things didn't work out there. She had a family member, her dad, have some health issues and stuff. She didn't feel comfortable moving, so I was like, you know what? Well, I've been thinking about starting my own thing, and I'm probably I'll put my notice in here and start doing that, and then that'll give me the opportunity if I decide to move up there, I'll be able to. So when I left the performance shop, I didn't have money to go right into a shop or anything. I had a truck, so I had the idea. I don't even know what made me think of it, but I had the idea of getting an enclosed trailer and trying to do mobile work.
Okay.
I've had a few customers that had their own shop and stuff, so I was like, you know what, maybe I'll have a trailer, put my welder and everything and my equipment in it, and do it mobile. So I got an enclosed trailer, outfitted this thing, and it was a pretty cool setup we had. And I did that for a few months, and I got some jobs and stuff, and did some wiring stuff. It worked out pretty good with the wiring, because you don't need much for wiring. You can have your basic electrical equipment and stuff, and and can tackle a job.
I know there's a guy that goes around, and that's basically all he does is, like, he'll come and wire your car, and he just has an RV. Right?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll park in your driveway or wherever. I'll be there for a couple days.
Yeah.
Get your car wired out, you pay me, and then I leave.
Yeah. It would work out if I was primarily focused on the wiring. You could do something like that. There's several companies that do that. But I was trying to do everything. I was trying to fabricate.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to do the wiring, everything. There's times I had engine stand in this. It was a 7x14 enclosed trailer.
It's not very big.
It's not. I had an engine stand in there, like building a motor, and then I would back the trailer up to like the front of a car,
Mm-hmm.
and work in the engine bay, and just so I could walk back and forth and get back and forth between things quickly. I think I did a turbo kit at one shop out of it, and did all kinds of random jobs. But after doing that for a little while, I was like, I need to get a space.
Mm-hmm.
So I was still in North Carolina, and so I ended up renting some shop space from a buddy of mine. And it was, I don't remember how big it was. It was just this open warehouse, and it was probably like a 3,000 square foot warehouse. I backed my trailer up and to the door to kind of give some more room, and I filled that thing up. I had probably 6 or 7 cars in there working on, and did that for a while, and that was when things escalated. I got engaged. I proposed to my wife, got engaged, and I was like, you know what? Well, if you can't come down here, then I think it's time to pick up and go up there. So I worked through things. We found a place where we were moving. We ended up moving up to Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Okay.
And to get up there and get situated, I nailed down a job to start up there because I was going 4 hours away. I had no idea what was going to be around there, what the industry was like up there. So I got a job at a little shop up there, and it was like a 4x4 shop, doing wheels and lift kits.
Mm-hmm.
Worked there for a while, and finally got settled in, and decided to start looking for shop space, and found a little shop up there. And actually, no, I'm all over the place.
You're good.
I was working. No, I was working out in my garage there.
Mm-hmm.
I skipped some steps there.
Mm-hmm.
I had it was a little 2-car garage, but it was a single door deal. And I was doing stuff on the side while I was working at this other shop full time, and it was cramped in there. This was, to get 2 cars in, you have, like I said, it was one door and another space over here. So really it was hard to get 2 cars. So I would pull one car in and slide it sideways, and then bring the other car in and work on them side by side. And I still have my enclosed trailer that I could park up at the garage door, so it kind of extended the space and helped out. I did that for I left the full-time job and just did that at home in the garage for probably a year, probably 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when I was like, it's time I started filling my schedule up. I started staying busy and just had a lot going on in there. So that was when we started looking for shop space, and found a 2,100 square foot shop that we moved into from there, and kind of took off from there. Once I got an actual location and was posting pictures and stuff that we had an actual legit shop, I stayed busy.
Was that the shop that I visited today?
No. We're still in Virginia. We're still
so
in
Virginia at that point.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I was there. I'd have to look at the years, but I was there at that spot for probably 2 years, and the whole time I had some little helpers here or there, but the whole time it was just me, and I was working by myself. I probably kept regularly probably 5 or 6 cars there. I had one lift. I got one lift, and
it's amazing how when you get a lift, everything changes.
Oh man,
like,
yeah,
I can knock stuff out so quick.
Yeah. It was a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked there for a couple years, and it was hard to find somebody to work. I started looking for help, couldn't find anybody, And a lot of my work was still coming from Raleigh. Actually, even being up there, I had a lot of my customers and a lot of people coming from Raleigh still. So we ended up talking to the wife and saying, you know what, I think really if I went back down to Raleigh, things might take off. It might be the step we need to take. There's racing and drag racers and stuff up there, but it's just nothing like down here.
No,
Nothing
it's
like
a
Raleigh.
religion down here.
Yeah. So we started planning and decided to come back down to Raleigh.
Nice.
And when did we come to Raleigh? I think I just signed this would be my second year at this shop. So 2 years ago is when we came here. We got into like a 5,500 square foot space, a good location and right next to Briar Creek. And yeah, we've just been going since. I got two guys for me right now, working for me, and we're about to start trying to find another person because we're booked up. Probably we're booking. I think I just booked a job into November. We got a couple in November now, so just trying to grow this thing. Just trying to keep
finding employees is probably the hardest part of business ownership. You know, as you know, I'm a plumber. I own my own plumbing company.
Yeah.
And that's the bottleneck right now is I need guys.
Very
I need
tough,
guys
man.
really bad. And,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know about you. Like, it doesn't matter at the same time because you've got a shop and you don't really have a ton of customers coming in and out of there. It's like you have a shop location. I have to send guys into people's houses.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I have to be way pickier on, like, the guys that I pick and their background checks.
Yeah, because
right?
they're kind of the image. They're
It's the image of the company. Yeah. Well, and like if you go and you see something and it's like, oh, you know, he got arrested for domestic violence. It's like, okay, well, sorry, I can't hire you because my insurance won't let me hire you.
I can't send you into families' homes and
yeah,
stuff.
it's like, oh, breaking and entering. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. They all have, I'm sure there's challenges with all different types. I've always told myself, you know, like the custom, I got into the worst thing to hire, one of the worst things to hire for, because just the custom industry, it's not like a general repair shop. You know, you can find somebody that, you know, has been, you know, just bolted on, replacing parts for years. We're in the fabrication side and the custom side, so it takes extra effort and somebody who actually wants to make a good product. They care about what the work they're doing. So
yeah, it's not. Can you make it functional? It's can you make it look good?
Yeah,
and functional.
Well, all of the above. Yeah,
you know,
making it function, making it make power, make stuff easy to work on, look good. We got a pretty good. You know, that's everything we build. We think about it's got to be worked on. We know there's a lot of stuff out there. People start throwing stuff together, you know, not thinking anything, and but you got to be able to, if you got to do plugs, if you got to disassemble it, or while you're at a racetrack or something, you want to make sure, you know, it's built to function all around.
Yeah. If you have to pull a transmission at the track, you should be able to pull it within 20 minutes. It shouldn't take you 2 hours to pull a transmission out.
Yeah.
You know, and if you got to remove a bunch of stuff to get to it, it's going to take you a while.
Yeah.
So, you got to think about all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, I got introduced to you guys through a mutual friend of ours, Tyler Carey.
Okay.
It was him and I, you know, race at the same track. I don't know if we've ever raced against each other, actually. I don't think we have. You know, like we'll talk smack to each other and stuff like that, you know. Although he's one of the funniest people to talk smack to because he just doesn't know how to respond to it sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'll admit sometimes my delivery could use a little bit of work. You know, I don't always make sense with everything that I say.
Yeah.
But it is really funny. I'll say some stuff and he just like, what? I didn't get it. I'm like, it's okay. I didn't get it either. So
you can go both ways. Tyler's a good dude.
Tyler's a good dude.
Yeah, he's been a great customer.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys have made some really good strides with that F body of his.
Yeah. He came to us. He came to us with his C6 Z06 that he had been building, and we got it buttoned up for him. It was close to being fired up, and he came to us just with a list of stuff to finish up on it and get it going, and it's a bad car. It's a F1. It's got what is it? I think it's got an F1 Eds on it now. I could be wrong, but just a C6 Corvettes, man. They're tough. You got the still got a factory computer. He's having throttle body issues and issues with that. The car's making some power. The blower belt issues with that big blower on it. He went for a while having a going through all this stuff, having problems with the we don't do stock computer tuning right now. So he was dealing with people trying to get it tuned and get the computer acting right. Kept having issues with belts, like breaking that thing has. I did it once. I can't remember now, but I was like, that thing's got I think 13 pulleys and 6 belts on it. It's got the blower belt, it's got the AC belt, it's got the serpentine belt, it's got I think like what do they call it, the secondary drive belt, and then another belt on that for the alternator power steering. Like,
wow,
there's a lot going on. Every time he fits one belt, another one go. And that was he went through that for a while, and he was like, man, I'm getting burnt out with this. I was like, you need to get, if you want to go drag race, and he started to like see a lot of my customers that drag raced, and wanted to get into that. I was like, well, this is not the platform.
Well, the thing was also stick shift, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. It's just adding insult to injury as far as drag racing goes.
Yeah, and he had the car on drag radials and stuff. I told him, if you got a regular clutch in there, and IRS Corvette, you can't be out there on drag. You can't.
Yeah,
you're
not
doing
on
anything on drag.
slicks.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't know about that. So we ended up talking him into getting that F body, and he went searching online and found a car that was already built and got it and had a stock bottom and stuff in it, and we slowly been weeding things out on that. But he's got a pretty bad ride now.
Yeah, it's coming along pretty good. It was funny. So a car that I work on a little bit is called Ghost. It's a black S550 Mustang, owned by a buddy of mine, John, and she's fast. She's a really fast car.
Yeah.
And I introduced John to Tyler. Right, and I was like, oh yeah, Joe, Tyler races a little bit, and Tyler goes, yeah, if you ever want to line up, I'll take you on.
No,
right,
he's ready to race.
He's ready to race anybody, yeah. And my buddy John was just instantly like, okay, I'll take you on, no matter what. And Tyler realized, like at that moment, he was like, ooh, I may have bitten off more than I could chew. This guy didn't hesitate a second.
Yeah. But he likes that. He likes the gamble.
Yeah. And they did come up against each other at that 28 shootout at Galat a couple months ago.
Okay.
And Ghost was out of his life by a lot.
It did.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I can't really remember it.
It was first round.
Yeah.
First round of it. Yeah. It was, and
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. That black Mustang. We had a killer combo in it that day too. She was running hard.
Yeah.
And it was nothing against Tyler. It was just
the
caliber of car.
Yeah.
I know a little bit about what's in Tyler's car. I know a lot of it about what's in that car. And I'm like, yeah, buddy, I don't, unless you'd spent a lot more money, I don't think it would have been.
Yeah.
I don't think the two cars would have been there.
Yeah. He's teamed up basically. He's going to a lot of races with another one of my good customers, Kevin.
Yep.
Kevin John.
We're going to have him on the podcast here pretty soon.
Yeah, that'll be cool. They've been going everywhere together. Kevin does real well. He does a lot of street car, front side no prep. Car does real good in that. We did the car originally. Kevin's car originally came to me as a nitrous car when I was up in Virginia, and we switched it over to a turbo, and he's been having a blast with that thing.
I just can't get on the no prep world, man. It's just so sketchy. It's so sketchy, at least in the prep world, right? There's enough prep there to, like, even if you make a bad pass, you still go straight.
Yeah.
In no prep, if you make a bad pass, you might end up in the wall.
Yeah. I like it. It has, I like the challenge part of it. It's not all about money. It's not all about how much power you make and stuff. You can take somebody that doesn't make as much power as somebody, but they know how to make their car work and can outrun them. The no prep stuff gets a lot of people that talk crap about it. But the thing is, you choose to go to a no prep race. So as a racer, you go there knowing the risk of running. So there's a lot of people that say you need to stop. They need to end no prep racing. But I don't say that. Those people knew the track they were going to. They knew it was a no prep race, and they decided to race there. I like it. I like mine. There's some things I don't like about it, like a lot of the ways the people do the flashlight and stuff. Sometimes I get a little bothered by that, and
Like the tree's right there. Just use the tree.
Yep. Like some tracks do the instant green and stuff. So do that if you don't want to do the tree. You can still do an instant green, but I've been into had some customers with a lot of drama with like the start and stuff, and I was like, well, it can easily be remedied. That's one of my biggest downs. One of the things against it. But as far as the no prep, we like that. We like the challenge.
Yeah, it's just not been. I've done one no prep race in my entire life, and I did not have a fun time. So I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this again. And for me also, I just have too much tied up in my car.
Oh, yeah.
To risk
Yeah.
wadding it up in a wall. You know,
Yeah.
the base price of the car plus everything I've done to it. I'm like, I just nah.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's not for everybody. Like I said, the people that want to do it, that's.
Yeah, they're crazy, but
Yeah.
that's.
I've noticed. If you really notice, like the cars that do crash, I feel like, at least from what I've seen, it's very rare that like somebody is actually a good driver has actually put their car into the wall or something. It's usually the races I've been to. Like if you go to a dig or die backside race, it's the guy in like his street car Mustang or a Cadillac CTS-V or something like that. They didn't really know to let out, or it ain't what they didn't really have the sense to. But there's not such your cars that have the big wings and stuff that are flipping over and stuff like that. Most people know, like if they're a good racer and they know prep race, just wrecking isn't as common if they know what they're doing.
So I wanted to ask, like, you're one of the first like shop owners we've had on.
Yeah.
When you're building a car for a customer, are you asking them like how much experience they have in racing? Like ultimately it's the driver and the owner's responsibility, right, for whatever happens right on the track.
Yeah.
But also I think at a certain step, if you're building a car for somebody and you get the feeling like, oh, this guy has no experience of racing and he's having me build him a 4-second pro mod, 3-second pro mod, like, is there any responsibility on the shop side at least to say, hey, you might want to pump the brakes and slow down a little bit?
So that is actually something that's something I do pay attention to. A lot of you can ask any one of my customers. I do kind of feel out and get a feel for all my customers. I don't want them to. I put a little extra into knowing what they might be capable of doing, and what's, like, for example, like when we build stuff for people, like I say, I don't think it's a good idea, to make that much power. And I don't know how to word it. I do. Yeah, it is to when we started out with Tyler, for example, that was he came out of a street car and was going into a 5-second race car, and he was anxious. He wanted more and more power, but I was like, no, man, let's take it slow. I want you to learn the car. I want you to get comfortable with it. It is kind of, I do believe there's a lot of shops, they want to. This is what you want, we'll build it for you. But I build more of a bond with my customers, and I'll talk to them and say, let's take baby steps, and let's get comfortable with things. And I don't want you to go out there and, safety. I care about people's safety. So that is how we do.
Well, and a little bit of it too, especially if like your name is on the back of the car, right?
Yeah.
If a guy goes out there and just instantly goes into a wall, it's not a good look for you guys either.
Yeah.
Right? Now, again, ultimately, it's the owner of the car's responsibility, right, to get the experience, to go faster, but it is one of those, like, I have good people in my life, who are around me who are going, you're only going to go this much faster. We're not going to let you, just build a car, put it on 30, 40 pounds of boost and send it down there. Like, you're going to progressively go a little bit faster, a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm grateful for that. Sometimes I'm not grateful for it, and I'm like, I just want to go faster, just put all of it in, but I am grateful to them for, holding me back a little bit and going, no, you need to learn, because the couple times I have been in a bad situation on the track, I'm used to the speeds, I'm used to what's going on, and I've been able to stop the car without putting it in a wall.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to be comfortable in it. if you're in the driver's seat already nervous to begin with and not comfortable with the speeds you're going to be going, if something bad happens, it's harder to react rationally and know what to do if you're already nervous to begin with. So that's a lot of times I'll tell just get some passes, get used to the speed and get used to things where all the normal noises are and not, and then when you start turning it up and stuff, if something does happen, you're much more comfortable to react to things.
Yeah. So, what is kind of like your guys' bread and butter? Like, what is the thing you guys really like to do and can turn and burn as far as customers go?
Turbo kits.
Turbo
has
kits
been our big thing. We got probably 6 or 7 turbo kits going on right now in the shop. We've been doing a pretty good job of turning scheduling things where we get all the parts and stuff in advance, and when they come in, we can turn them around quick. We've been having a good doing pretty good with that. We do some roll cage stuff. I started out, like I said up front in the beginning, I started out thinking I wanted to get into the chassis stuff and the full race car builds, and it's a lot of work goes into that stuff. If you're going starts talking about 25.3 or full chassis builds, I immediately discovered that I don't think I want to keep going down that road. So that's when we dialed it back a little bit on. We just kind of take on 10-point cages and stuff is what we mainly do. And we've been doing a lot of turbo kits, a lot of custom exhaust, stuff like that.
I mean, I guess when you build like a full race car, right? You do a 25.2, 25.3, you do the turbo kit, engine, transmission, all that stuff. Do you find that you inadvertently kind of own the car after that? Like somebody else owns it, but you're ultimately responsible for everything in the car, or not even inadvertently responsible for it, but anything goes wrong and they go, "What happened?
Yeah,
why did it go wrong?"
No, when you do a full build, it becomes your baby. You put a lot of hours into stuff, so yeah, it is how it is. We've done several full builds, and again, that's the kind of thing we're trying to dial in our what we want to focus on. And the full builds, we've turned down a few of those. People have asked, and the ones we do take on are people just like, I want it to be all you. And we got a few of them in the shop. Even I keep telling myself, no more full builds, but for some reason they keep ending up in the shop. I'm bad about saying no. That is one of the biggest things I've had to learn, and one of the biggest struggles is saying no.
Well, even when you send them, I'll do this every now and then. I'll send someone what I consider a stupid estimate.
Yep.
Right? They want me to do something like a repipe on an entire house. Right? I'm like, that's like 3 days.
Yeah.
Like 3 days of the same house, dealing with stupid crap and people in my way and having to cut all the drywall. And I'm like, all right, I'll put some stupid number on it. And they go, okay.
Yeah, yeah. You think to yourself, they're going to say no, but if they do, well, it's good money. But yeah, no, I've never really, I haven't. I've told myself to do that, but I'm not. I'm a real fair person, and that's been another thing too is learning what our value is. I started out, undercutting, and I charge just to make what I need to pay bills and make a little bit of money, and slowly been working my way up to we've built up a really good reputation. And the thing is right now our shop has a lot of stuff in there that are cars from other shops that were come in for us to fix things and go over things, and majority of the time they paid more at the shops that did the work originally and then brought to us to fix. And I'm learning that we need to start. We got a good reputation. We're able to. We provide a good quality product to our customers, and I've been trying to work up to charging like what we're worth.
But if you're going to do that, you have to keep the high quality of work, right? Yeah. So I have 2 neighbors in this neighborhood. One, he builds custom hot rods, older stuff, like 50s and 60s cars. stuff like that. Not race cars, right? These are show cars.
Uh-huh.
These are, pleasure drivers, stuff like that. They're never going to be fast, right?
Uh-huh.
And he was only charging like $70 an hour or something like that. And I was like, dude, you got to raise your prices.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I don't know, man. I don't, maybe. I was like, dude, you're making a luxury item.
Yeah.
This is people bringing their spare funny money for you to build this car.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But they expect a high quality.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do high quality at low price.
Yeah.
So you need to raise your prices so that
you
you actually make money.
You might not stay in business long.
You might not stay in business,
or,
and that's kind of what he was struggling
Yeah.
with. Another neighbor over here, he's just a regular mechanic, right? But I mean, he's probably one of the best mechanics I know.
Mm-hmm.
Dude can turn a mean wrench, and he never ever has had a callback.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, "Oh yeah." I asked him how much he was charging. It's like $25 an hour. I was like, "Dude." And I got him to raise it to 50, and I was like, "That's still not enough.
Yeah.
You've got to charge a little bit more, because, if something does have to come back, well, now you're just losing money.
Mm-hmm.
In plumbing, I'm trying to find that like in between range because like I know what my competition is charging, and then I know what the guys that are behind me are charging.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get that middle zone.
Yeah.
Because if I raised my prices, I would lose probably about 20% of my customers. Is where I look at it. If I lowered my prices, the customers I would pick up are not necessarily customers that I want.
Yeah.
And that's the other part of it that people don't necessarily talk about is like there's just a certain, I have tended to find, and I don't know how this is in the car world, middle class or people with a decent amount of money are not super picky.
Mm-hmm.
They just want it to work.
Yeah.
Right? There's some people that just have like an uber amount of money and they have nothing to do with it, so they're going to nitpick everything that you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then there's people with no money are going to nitpick everything you do to try and get you to lower your price.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm trying to find that right balance of my prices.
So that does apply. That applies to it as well. I got friends with other shops and stuff that are kind of same deal. They have a lower shop rate and stuff, and it brings those people that are a lot nitpickier and they're harder to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of goes back, like I said, we got with the reputation we have. We could charge like we could charge a good amount because we provide the quality work to go with it. And yeah, when you get into that, I guess that category, it is easier to deal with people because like they know going in, they're not spending out of their means and they know what they're doing. That's what happens sometimes, I guess, with the people that don't is they're spending out of their means.
Mm-hmm.
So they when the bill starts racking up, they're like, whoa, but you shouldn't have been here. Should have thought through this in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
where things were going. So yeah, it applies to that as well.
Yeah. So are you considering ever getting back out on the track there?
I would love to. I got a little project car that my best friend has been he keeps bugging me about. He keeps telling me to get it out there, but man, we're too busy.
Mm-hmm.
It does. You keep seeing everybody in their cars and out here racing. It starts to get to you, and you wish you had something out there, but I just haven't got to a point where I can.
I do have a certain amount of belief in if you're a performance shop, custom shop or whatever shop, right? And you're claiming, hey, I can build you a car to go down the drag strip and it's going to do X time, it's going to do X well. But then you go, well, do you guys have a car? And they don't. I go, that's my personal belief, right? But like Lund Racing got kind of forced into building their own race car because, they kept saying, oh, we're doing great tunes so you can go down the track. And then we go, what does your car do? And they go, oh, we don't have one.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, and so they built Grey Goose. And that thing is nasty. I mean, it won World Cup finals last year.
Okay.
And it was a 6R80, which a 6 R80. I'm sure, I don't know if you've really been paying attention to those at all, but basically you can take the 6-speed transmission out of a 2015 to 2017 Mustang,
Okay.
do a hub swap on the inside, it makes it a 3-speed.
Okay.
Basically a turbo 400 inside
Gotcha.
of a 6-speed
Yeah.
transmission.
I'm not familiar with that stuff at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple people that I know of that claim that they don't have that in there, but it's really funny because the car goes down the track and it only shifts twice.
Yeah.
Right. And you're stupid. We leave in second and it only shifts to fourth. And I'm like, it's a 6-speed transmission. It should be at least shifting into fifth.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like I'm not stupid. You just think I am.
Yeah.
You know. So they've been doing a lot with that world.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah, I know. I've heard of them. They got a big name.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of customers out there, man. So we got plenty of we got a lot of cars out there at the track and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, man, I just really, there's time and then there's money, and I've just been dedicating and focusing, like, you know, my time and money into building the business and stuff, instead of putting it into a car. When I got the customer stuff out there, you know, I'm at the track with them working and showing what we could do with them. Really, I believe the problem you run into with, like, a lot of car people that have their shop cars, man, you kind of open a can of worms with that. Some people do. Especially, it depends on how your scheduling is and stuff. But if you're out there, you got customers out there that need help, or their car's at the shop and they see you at a race racing your own car. Yeah, you got some people that don't want to talk about that, but
yeah, it's all about finding the right balance.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
You know, I think of KSR Performance down in Florida. He's had his personal car sitting up in the rafters for like 20 years.
I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, and now it's finally down because his business partner was like, dude, you keep teasing bringing out this car. He's like, I'm basically going to force you to build this car. Like, bring it down, put it on a lift, and start building it. He's like, just put in, I think it's like 10 hours a week is what he puts in on it. And that's it, right? And he usually does it after hours. And he's slowly, little bit by little bit, knocking out that car. That's going to be a badass car when it's done.
Yeah.
You know, because that dude is like super detail everything.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen I've seen him on. I watch like Cletus and stuff. We used to watch it all the time. My son, we used to watch an episode of Cletus like every night, and that was around the time I think KSR was doing most of the stuff on Mullet.
Mullet, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he's a smart dude. Where was it?
Yeah. I met him a couple years ago, actually, out of Bristol. We went to Cletus's race that he did out there.
Was that? Yeah.
Yeah, and that was Kevin was super cool. You know, took a picture with him, got a signature, and just chatted with him for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know. What was really funny was Mr. Sam was out there, and there was a line of women. There's a line of women to go talk to Mr. Sam.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. One race I really want to get into, I got into it last year, and then my car blew up, so I wasn't able to go, was Cletus's Christmas tree race.
Yeah.
You know, that looks like just such a hoot.
Yeah.
It looks like so much fun.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember what the last one I watched. You know, I haven't had much time to watch this stuff. I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos, and but I've kind of lost track of a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
Someone asked me the other day, they're like, "When's the last time you played a video game?" And I was like, I honestly can't remember.
Yeah.
You know, it's, you know, as a teenager, I was like, I'm never going to give this up. You know, adults are stupid. These are fun, you know.
Yeah.
And now I'm an adult and I just don't have time.
Yeah.
You know, it's you know, I'm working on my business. I'm working on my car. I'm working on somebody else's car. I'm raising my daughter, you know.
Yep. Yeah, the family.
Yeah.
How
many kids you got?
2.
2?
Yep. I got a 14-year-old stepdaughter and 6-year-old son.
There you go.
So
there you go. Keep you busy.
That's where that falls into, I guess you asked about my car, is really what my focus has been on, is taking time away from the business to spend more time at home and spend time with them. So yeah, the car gets back burner for that.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. You know, is he interested in the car stuff?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loves it.
Yeah, Daddy, take me to the shop. Daddy,
Yeah.
let's go to the racetrack.
I think you were at the shop earlier, and did you notice the little house by the door there? That's his little hangout spot. Yeah, he loves it.
Nice.
Yeah.
My little girl, she's 21 months old,
Okay.
and she already, like I'll be sitting in the race car, and she's climb up in my lap, and she'll grab the steering wheel and try to do stuff and try to turn it on, and be like, no, we're not going to sit on the starter for 3 seconds.
Yeah.
But it was one of the first words she could say is car, car.
That's awesome.
I was like, good.
We're going the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and I don't know how you feel about it, but if she ever says that she wants to do junior dragsters, I'll get her one.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of junior dragsters on here before on the podcast, and it is funny because talking to them, they have said like junior dragster parents are worse than soccer parents. The drama is just ratcheted up.
Yeah.
Way more.
I've started looking into plans about building one. I'm starting to see what goes into them, what the costs are on them, because I'm sure that'll be in the near future.
Yeah, the basic base model, as far as I can see, is Facebook Marketplace, which is of course the most dangerous website for any of us car guys.
Yep.
It's like open Facebook Marketplace. Forget about it. Whoever posted that, it was what's the deal? And you can get like a full chassis with a running motor and everything for like $5,000.
Yeah.
Now it's like the base model that's meant for like a 6-year-old, 7-year-old.
Yeah.
And I know the farther you get into it and the higher up in the levels you get, like you're talking billet motor.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say you bring billet motor in and stuff. It starts to go up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they changed the rules a couple of years ago because it used to be you could only have it was like a Briggs and Stratton motor in it, but then when COVID happened, there was a shortage on motors guys could get, so they opened it up a little bit, and I think there's like 7 different motors you can get now.
Okay. Yeah.
So it does open it up a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that far into the rules and stuff like that. I was looking up the chassis plans and about doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it looks like a whole lot of fun, and I mean, I'm not going to make her do it if she doesn't want to. But but if she wants to, I'm going to get her one.
Yeah, that's what I've always said too. Is I'm not going to force him. It's what he kind of didn't have a choice though.
Yeah,
especially when you own a business and that's what you do. He came around every day and crawled around the shop and hung on race cars and stuff. So
yeah, unless she wants to get into horses, in which case we're not doing that. It's. No, no, I'm not funding a horse girl.
Yeah.
Stupid things go off and die on you.
Yeah, that can be a lot.
Yeah. So what's the next thing for you guys? Like, where are you? You said you're looking for an employee right now to hopefully continue to grow the business.
Yeah. Like I said, we're slam packed on the schedule, and man, we're all overwhelmed. So we just start growing. Continue growing. I'm trying to figure out, like, we've got a lot of ideas about stuff. We've been throwing around the idea of also getting into social media stuff, getting into a YouTube channel. I've been telling myself for past couple years to try to get started. I don't know how many videos I've probably filmed and stuff. And like, here, I'm gonna film my first one and just put it up there, and never pull the trigger on it though.
Yeah, I mean, the barrier to entry to that is a lot lower than you might think, especially if you've got one of these stupid iPhones, because it's got everything you need on here. iMovie is on here. Yeah. You can edit everything straight through your phone.
Yeah.
Right? And you can upload straight from the app.
Yeah. That's where I started out. I was thinking too much about it. That's what I'm like, I need to make like a production. I need to edit, and that's what happened is I'd make a video and I'd start editing it and nitpicking it and stuff. And that's what eventually people started saying. I was like, what the problem is you see what the videos you're watching, what they have and stuff, but they've been doing it for 3 or 4 years, but I'm immediately like trying to do that. But then you look back at the videos they made 3 or 4 years ago, and you're like, okay, I'm thinking too much about it.
Yeah. Well, even our, this is going to be episode 23, right? Yeah. Episode 1 and 2 sucked. Episode 3 and 4 were slightly better.
Yeah.
Right. And we've gotten a better camera, and we've gotten better lights, and we've gotten better audio equipment,
Yeah.
as we've gone along, right? The hosts have not changed at all. They suck. But, we're getting there.
Yeah.
I have my own little YouTube channel, The Fast Plumber.
Okay.
I really only post on there when I go racing. Right now we're in a rebuilding area, and I'm trying to keep most of it secret. So if you're filming all of it, it's kind of hard to keep it secret. What I would honestly say is just in your mind, write off the first like 6 or 7 months of videos. They're gonna suck,
Be prepared to.
and that's okay, because you're not going to be a great editor. Like, that's the main thing, is editing videos, right? You could film all day long, just as long as you bring out the phone and you record it, right?
Yeah.
You're going to suck at editing for the first 6 months, because it's going to take you a while to figure out what the feel of your videos are.
Yeah.
Right? You don't know what that is. You don't know what that is until you've done it a couple times, and in your brain you're going, oh, so-and-so said this. Oh, so-and-so did that. When the car started on the 18th time that we tried to start it, and everyone was rejoicing, right? Like, it's going to take you a little bit to figure that out. But you have to have the practice and the muscle memory of bringing out the phone to film stuff and editing it and posting it. And, you could have a video that you pour your heart and soul into an edit, and 10 people watch it. Right? And you could have another video that you spend 10 minutes editing, you throw it together, and you throw it out there, and it gets 10,000 views.
Yep.
And you're like, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, I'll just do a slapdash on all of them. And then you throw the next one out, and 2 people watch it.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. A lot of people say, like, the one that they didn't inspect to get any traction or something was the one that took off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny.
Yeah, the one on my personal channel that's gotten the most views, I just did a stupid review video of a 2015 Mustang, my Mustang, when I bought it.
Yeah.
Right? I'd owned it for like 2 weeks, and I was like, here's my review on the 2015 Mustang, kind of like a Doug DeMuro or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And it's got like 60 or 70,000 views.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, the racing stuff is way more exciting. Like, we're going rounds, I've got in-car footage, I've got this, I've got that.
Yeah.
No, 100 views maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
It's crazy. Yeah, that the review stuff, man. I saw one the other day, and I saw how many followers he had. And it was insane. And like, I'm like, what is his? It's overhead. Like, he does it. The one I watched was one. It was in his living room on like a little table in the middle of his living room, and he would take products and lay on that table, spin it, do like some crazy stuff. And it's just, man, he had millions of views.
Yeah, unboxing stuff.
It was the camera, a little table in the living room, and that's it.
Yeah. The other one who is always hilarious to me is Chris Fix. Right? You never see his face. He's always behind the camera, and he just fixes cars.
Okay.
And it's like it's always very specific of 2007 Tahoe, how to replace the AC condenser. Right? Very specific stuff, but he's been doing it for years and years. He's got millions of subscribers and people who watch every single video, even if it has nothing to do with a car that they own. Right? And he's done a couple public events, and he wears a helmet while he's there because he just doesn't want to show his face, because he doesn't want to be famous. Right?
Yeah.
He's not interested in being famous or being recognized. He's just filming videos on how to fix cars.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it's hey guys, this is Chris Fix, and here's how we fix da 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 da, and he just gets right into it.
Yeah.
So, I would definitely encourage, if you want to do a YouTube channel, get into it, but you just have to do it.
Yeah,
is the hard part. Yeah,
I've had a lot of people that say you need to, because we get a lot of content. We got a bunch of customers out there racing and a lot of stuff. It's be pretty entertaining. So it's just we think about utilizing it. And
yeah, what is funny is you'll start thinking about stuff as you start filming stuff that you never ever thought about before. Like, you'll start filming around the shop and you go, man, it's kind of dark around the shop now. Like, okay, well, now we need to get a bunch of lights and we need to do all this stuff, and it is really funny. You start realizing stuff as you start filming
from a different perspective.
Because even though you're watching it through this, you're now watching it through this, right? Yeah. And you're just like, oh man, that corner of the shop is a bit dirty. Oh, the stuff's kind of a bit dingy. The floors kind of look like that. And you'll start making small changes even if you don't realize you're doing it.
Yeah.
especially if you start getting traction.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not getting any traction, you're not getting any money out of it. I wouldn't spend anything on it.
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, don't get a fancy camera. Just
Oh yeah. No.
that
Yeah.
the iPhone is more than enough.
Yeah. That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, we'll see. There's been talks about that, but yeah, like I said, we're trying to. I'm gonna put an ad up, try to get another person in, get some more help in there, and just start like I said, narrowing down what we want to do, and I'll try to become more efficient and stuff if we can do that.
Okay. All right. Well, if people want to reach out to you guys, is there like a Facebook page they should go to, Instagram?
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
where should people go to?
we're on Facebook at Nooge Customs. We got Instagram.
Nooge Customs.
Yep. We got a website up. One of the things I work on as well is started building a web store and stuff, and working on that. Speaking of that, as another some products and I've been working on, and we might eventually try to work towards manufacturing and making some parts. I got a list of stuff that when I have time to put the time into R&D and I can eventually start launching some of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing that's on the radar.
Yeah, I think Cameron Johnson race cars. You know, they build stuff for like Cletus, and they're building stuff for Justin Swanstrom and all them. He said like 70% of his business is actually manufacturing of parts and shipping it out.
Oh yeah, you'll notice like a lot of like especially the fab shops they started out building race cars and stuff and started making parts, and they cut back on they're building the race cars, and that's all they do.
Mm-hmm.
So you notice the trend and realize that
there's just
the
more
direction
money
to go. Yeah.
All right, and what events do you all plan on being out at next? Kevin or Tyler or any of your other race cars you got out there?
Kevin and Tyler are both trying to make it to Battle at the Beach in Myrtle Beach in a couple weeks, so they'll be there.
Yeah, I know. I was disappointed because I'm hosting a class at Galat that day, and Kevin was like, "Oh man, I'm going to be down at Battle at the Beach." I was like, "Dang it!"
Yeah. But we got that. I got a half mile car. We actually just raced in Indiana a couple weekends ago. He did real good in that. They ran 3 days, and he finished first place of his class first and second day, and the third day he finished second. Something started. I think we got a turbo going out with it. On it, the boost just started falling off. Started taking more dome pressure to build boost, and we got a turbo that seems like it's going out. But it's on the way to the shop this week, and he's got a race in Abilene coming up that we're going to get it ready for. And that's a half mile car.
Mm-hmm.
So
that'll stress a lot of stuff on a car.
Yeah. This car's done pretty good. We back a few years ago, we had Wanna Go Fast around here. I don't know if you were familiar with any of those half mile races.
Yeah, I know of them. I never went to any of them.
We went to several of those, and we had a great time. We really liked them, and but some stuff happened, and they stopped doing those. And their shift sector is what this customer races with, but a lot of them are all. The first one we did was Kansas, and then Indiana, and then in Texas will be the next one. I enjoy them. They're nice. They're real cool to go to. They're a lot of times. It's like it's a little different in racing because it's more of like a vacation type thing.
Mm-hmm.
You go to them, they usually sit out in like a nice place, and you book an Airbnb or something. It's kind of more of an experience versus just going to a racetrack and racing.
Mm-hmm.
You always go with a good group of people you travel with, and they're fun. But we built his car. He had a NA car. It came to us as a NA car. We did like a custom Ram air intake on it, and did some little small stuff on it. It was, and he did real good. He won a lot of his. They had an NA class.
Mm-hmm.
He won a lot of those, and eventually he decided he wanted to pull the trigger on doing a turbo build on it, and we talked and came up with the plans and built it, and we came out. Our first race was at Kansas with it, and his goal for the weekend was to go 200 mile an hour. And we started on Friday, made his first pull down. Kind of going what we talked about. Like, let's get used to the car. We put it on wastegates on an easy pass and just go through the gears, get used to it and feel it out. He went like 185 on his first pass in the car, just easy stroll.
Just getting used to it.
Yeah. And he went from his NA car that he went 166, I think is what he had went in it. He came back. He's like, dude, turn it up. He said it felt awesome. It was smooth, easy to drive. Let's turn it up. We put a little more boost to it. I think we put it on 21 pounds. And second pass, it wasn't even lunchtime yet. First day, he went 204 in it. And he was real happy. Mm-hmm. But what that did was, because we reached his goal so quick, it was like, all right, what's the next goal now?
Yeah, project creep, here it comes.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking just in this weekend. We were there. We're out in Kansas, so he was like, next thing what I wanted to do was I wanted to set the stick shift Corvette record in the half mile, and that was like 212, 214. So we started to try to creep it up, turn it up. Well, we ran out of gear with the car. We were on that 204 pass. He went through at I think he touched the rev limiter at like 8,400. So we were like, well, we're gonna have to shift it into fifth gear, and we tried doing that, and it just we made several passes trying to do it, but every time just going to fifth gear just killed the car. Whether it was the timing where the shift was, and by the time the turbos got back going and just the overdrive, it would kill the car. So with that, the 204 was the best we got that weekend, and we started looking at plans to try to go faster, and ended up just changing the rear tire to try to get some more gear out for the next race, because we didn't have much time to do some of the other stuff we were looking into. And we went out to Indy this past weekend, or the last, and we got a new personal best. He went 207 there, but that was, like I said, I think we got something going on, and the car's on the way to the shop with that to figure out. Pull plugs on all the cylinders and everything looked good. The motor, it sounded happy, no skipping or anything. Like, everything looked great on it. But pretty sure we got a turbo going out on it. We're going to get that addressed.
Alrighty. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for anyone who doesn't understand, in a lot of racing, the faster you try to go, the more horsepower you have to pour to it. It's not like when you were in your car originally doing like 300 horsepower, something like that, to go from an 11 to a 10, you only need like 100, maybe 150 horsepower. But when you want to make that next step, and then the next step, it's not just another 150, another 150, another 150. It's like another 300, another 600, another 700.
Yep.
So when you're in there, you're going like 210, 207, right? And you're like, oh, I want to go 214. It's not just a matter of, oh, we'll just add 100 horsepower to it. Oh, we'll just add a little bit of gear to it. Like, you have to do a lot more to get it to go that.
Yeah. It does.
Yeah. So, and that is racing. That's just, but the problem for all of us is that we're not content. We're not content with going as fast as we've gone.
Oh yeah.
We have to go faster.
Yeah, and that's what happens. Yeah, you finish one goal, it's on to what the next one is.
Yep. Yep. Well, brother, I'm really happy to have had you on. Definitely we're going to try and get you back on in the future at some point.
Sure.
Maybe whenever you decide to bring your own car out here, or you get your son into junior dragsters, we'll bring you guys back on. And
I'll
he
come
can
in as
tell
the
us.
racer.
There you go. There you go. Well, everyone, I'm Nate, the Fast Plumber, on Instagram and on YouTube, and if you want to follow me there. Or Ernie, you can follow on 10 to 5 Life. He's been pretty quiet tonight. Man, Ernie, you got to show up, man. I'm revoking your bracket racer card. All right. And again, where can they follow you at?
Facebook, Instagram, Nooge Customs.
All right.
Yep.
All right, guys. Go ahead and give him a follow there. To make sure to like and subscribe to this video. And if you need any custom work done, reach out to you guys. Yep. But on those two sites, they should be able to reach you guys to get something done.
Those are common ones. So.
All right.
Yep.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Appreciate it.
Don't forget to sign the hood before you leave.
Okay.
All right.